Welcome all. In this video, I am going to explain you about how to calculate the net present value, internal rate of returns and the benefit cost ratio, which comes under the discounted measures of budget analysis. The assets will have its own depreciation. After 1 year, its value will be decreasing. So whatever the future returns that we are going to get, those values we have to calculate in the present terms by using a particular discount factor. So that discount factor, we generally take it as 5 to 10% or 20%. So all our future returns that we are going to get from a particular business have to be discounted at a particular discount factor so that we can get the present values of those future returns. So let us take as example from animal husbandry department, which includes a recurring cost, capital cost and the profits. Before going further, we have to have an understanding about what is a cash flows. So cash flows means the total revenues or the total profits minus the total expenditures. So this we call it as the cash flows. So in this example, let us assume that the capital expenditure, the capital or the non-recurring expenditure, which includes the cost of animals and the sheds and others, all the other permanent assets will be included under the capital expenditure. They cost around 1 lakh, let us assume it like that. And in the recurring expenditure, these are the expenses that we make every year. That is the expenses made on the feed, labor, electricity, water and all others and medicines, etc. They all comes under this category. So it is, let us assume that it is 50,000 rupees. So this capital expenditure, whatever the total value, that 1 lakh rupee that we are going to take in the form of a loan from the banks. So at the rate of 12% interest, and which is about to be repaid in 4 years in equal installments of 4 years. And as I told earlier, so the discount factor we are taking it as 10%. So from the sale of our product, we are going to get a standard income of 1,50,000. Let us assume like that. So this 1,50,000 is called as a gross profit. So the gross profit from the sale of our product. And the loan 1 lakh rupees is divided in 4 equal principal amounts, that is 25,000. And the interest for the existing total capital amount, the principal amount will be calculated at the rate of 12% and it will be divided for each year so that it has to be completely repaid within 4 years. And the recurring cost, as we said, it is 50,000 every year, let us assume like that. And the net profit that we are going to get is by deducting the total gross profits from the expenses, the recurring and the capital expenses, the part of the capital expenses, that is 63,000 in the first year and 66,000, and accordingly every year it is calculated. So the cash flows, as I said earlier, we arrive at by deducting the gross profit from the expenses. So that is nothing but the net profit. So the net profit values are equals to the cash flows values. So we have copied it and pasted here. And this minus 1 lakh means this is the capital expenditure. So it has to be deducted from the total values. In the next step, we have to calculate the present values for all these future cash flows. So the present values can be calculated at 10% of discount factor by using the formula, this formula. So look at this formula bar here. So we have to mention the equals to symbol and then take the cash flow of that particular year divide it with 1 plus the discount factor, that is 10%, the discount factor, and powered it to the year, the number of the years. So in the denominator, it is multiplied by the number of years. So look at the trend that is going on in each cell so that you can understand it yourself. So in the second cell, in the present value, we are taking it is the power to 2. It means it is multiplied 2 times. Then we are going to get the present value. And in the third year, if we multiply the rate of 3 times, then we are going to get the present value in the third year. So accordingly to 5 years. So we have arrived at all the 5 years present values. Then we can go for the calculation of NPV, the net present value. So net present value means we can calculate it just by adding up all the present values of all the 5 years and deducting it with the capital expenditure. Then we are going to get the net present value. So to interpret it, the net present value, if it is a positive one, then our project is going to give a good results. It is profitable, then we can take up the project. And the internal rate of returns, we can calculate it by using this formula. So first mention equals to, and then mention the IRR and open the bracket here, and then mark all these cash flows for the 5 years and put a comma there and open another small bracket, and there you enter the discount factor and close the small bracket and also the big bracket. Then press the enter button. Then we are going to get the percentage of internal rate of returns. So here in our case it is 62%, which is more than the discount factor that is used for calculation of the NPV. So if we are going to get IRR value more than the discount factor that is used for calculation of NPV, then our project is worthwhile. We can take up the project for further processing. So that is the interpretation of the IRR value. In some cases, the IRR values may also be more than 100. And the BCR, the benefit cost ratio, so benefit comes in the numerator and the cost in the denominator. So it has to be more than 1. Then only our project is worthwhile. So the benefit cost ratio is calculated simply by dividing the present values of the profits with the present values of the costs. So here the cost is, the recurring cost is 50,000 only every year, but it also has to be converted in the form of present values just by this formula, similar to the present values that we have calculated by for the profits. Similarly, for the costs also we have to calculate the present values, and then all these values will be divided by the benefits, so that the benefit cost ratio will be coming. So it has to be more than 1 for that indicates the worthfulness of our project. So these are the 3 factors, the economic factors that we have to calculate to make our project report into a complete detailed project report. I think you understood these concepts. So open your Excel sheet and start calculating these economic parameters for a normal values or a rough values, so that you will get more idea about this. So all the best. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe my channel